You get
Me and Keith have the same tattoo.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's weird. I don't know. It must be it.
Is it a prison tattoo?
It is. It is. I'm going through a kind of a dark spot right here, but you can see mine on my hand right there. It's on his shoulder.
mine's right there. I got mine from a real shady guy in Cincinnati who told me that meant laugh, think, cry. But in jail, I found out it means I'm a proud member of the Latin Kings.
Right. Yeah.
All I can say is thank God ramen noodles are currency.
Yeah.
Ronan's like, what have I gotten myself into?
What's the jail food like in Kentucky?
You know, by the time I stayed the night in a haunted dope house, it was a straight up house of 1,000 fucking crackheads. Motherfuckers drew a pentagram on the goddamn ground made out of fentanyl, what they call a pentagram.
Oh yeah, I know. Dude, well, like, you're funny, yeah. But, like, your views are fucking bananas.
Because I'm cute, motherfucker. But they kind of got old and shit. Ran out of jokes because, you can only write. I wrote probably like fucking hundreds of jokes from being in the back of a cop.
You have big dreams and aspirations. You have things you want to accomplish, but you're not accomplishing them because you haven't even started doing them at all yet. Because you keep thinking, hey, sometime I'm going to be ready to do this, or you keep thinking about maybe you're not going to be good at all. Well, I'd like to inform you, your self-doubt is dumb. You're wrong. You are freaking awesome. So, if you just start doing what you're going to do, and just realize you probably aren't going to be good at it for a little while, you just do that. And then as you're doing it, you start getting good at it. And then you go, hey, I don't know what I was worried about. I'm actually pretty freaking awesome at this. You know why? Because you are super freaking awesome at it. So start doing your stuff that you want to do and stop doing all the street crap you don't want to do because you're just trying to get by. And start getting by and start doing something freaking awesome. Okay. Love you bunches. Okay. That was super freaking awesome everything. Okay, bye.
Yeah, COVID sucked, but not as bad as I thought it would. Like, I kind of felt guilty. I was like, this is what people are dying from? I feel all right. But, well, getting it in jail is different. All right.
Always is.
Everything's different in jail. One place that makes you appreciate the, minutiae of life is jail.
That's true.
Well, see, I mentioned it, and he took off.
Yeah, he bailed.
Well, he didn't make bail. Oh man, it's crazy. I did catch it in jail, but I didn't know that I had a nationwide extradition warrant to Minnesota for a couple of years. I was just running around without knowing this because of it. I got in a little trouble in Minnesota in 2015. It was just a regular DUI, stupid decision, but man, did they make you pay for it.
Oh, I can imagine.
Well, it's the originating state where Mothers Against Drunk Driving is where they began, so they're really hard on that. Yeah. Ronan's like, what have I gotten myself into?
What's the jail food like in Kentucky?
Kind of better than McDonald's.
Really? Holy shit. Ours is terrible. Ours is absolutely terrible.
Well, McDonald's has this weird relationship with food where it looks and tastes all right, but it's terrible for you. I feel like it's at least got nutritional value, the slop they give you here.
The Kool-Aid packets in jail here, they have this not for outside institutional use, not for human consumption.
A lot of trees. We're pretty much just a rest stop between New York and Boston.
Got it. Cool. I was born in Baltimore, outside of Baltimore, but on an army base, so I'm not. You can't really call me. I'm still south of the Mason-Dixon, so
he was next to you.
Yeah.
You look at him. You don't get that kind of a mustache and just devilish good looks without being some kind of army experiment. I don't think.
No, you get that in jail when they hand you a single blade razor and no water. So.
I have an experience with that. I didn't know the finer points of getting tattoos whenever I started getting kind of better than McDonald's.
Really? Holy shit. Ours is terrible. Ours is absolutely terrible.
Well, McDonald's has this weird relationship with food where it looks and tastes all right, but it's terrible for you. I feel like it's at least got nutritional value, the slop they give you here.
The Kool-Aid packets in jail here, they have that says not for outside institutional use, not for human consumption. That's what it says on the box.
Oh, I know. I keep a pack of it in my wallet to make sure that I don't. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm not going to do something stupid again.
Yeah, be careful if it rains and you touch it, it'll burn your skin. So
it's actually an industrial grade solvent as well.
yeah.
Oh man,
It's got some pumice in it.
Yeah, so, yeah. You can. It's like Gojo.
it's got to get that, got that grit in it, that true grit. Well, yeah. If you go to get a tattoo on you that has hair growing on it, you shave that at home. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I ended up having to get my chest shaved with a single blade Bic razor by a guy with tattoos for eyebrows and hair.
yeah,
Wasn't that fun?
yeah. He doesn't understand what it's like.
Well, at least he didn't look like he was having a good time too, so that made it better.
Yeah.
So
What if you get a full piece and like if you do get a prison tattoo and you because they don't shave it? I mean, what do? They just go over the hair.
I assume, I've seen some garbage tattoos.
Yeah, I have too.
I know people that got the best shitty tattoos. I love that. Well, they got Colonel Sanders riding a rocket ship over here, and half of it's not done. You definitely played the Xanax for that, didn't you?
I was in jail with a dude named Justin Barnhill who has "shut the fuck up" tattooed on his face. Right here, just shut the fuck up. Like I was like, you're gonna deal drugs for the rest of your life.
You got to be great for interviews.
Yeah.
Power
Yeah.
Well, certainly a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Or
sure.
Andrew.
Yeah.
My goal isn't to tell you you're a horrible person. Here's how to improve it. My job is to tell you you're fine the way you are. Chill out and enjoy yourself.
I love that. I get those vibes from you for sure. Absolutely. It's like you don't have to do better. You don't have to do better. You're doing fine.
Yeah, you're doing fine. You don't need to speak 17 languages.
Yeah, you're right. You don't. I mean, I can barely speak one. So
yeah,
we're doing all right.
I speak broken English perfectly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because we're from the Southeast, but.
Yeah, I was talking to Rodney earlier, and I was like, it's amazing how much of the brilliance gets taken out of the words that you say whenever you've got to draw. It's the opposite of the British accent.
Like the fact that, I used the word dossier one time, and everyone was blown the fuck away, like I'm a monkey that they taught how to draw. He's like,
can he dress himself too? You got to pose.
Yeah.
You got one of those word of the day calendar.
Yeah.
Is that what you got that from? You just trying to work it in?
Yeah.
Oh, here's my buddy Sean says, "Hey, sunshines." There's one sunshine in between. This is a dark cloudy.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Everything's fine. Could be worse. I do a great terrible impression of you, Rodney.
I'd love to hear it.
Oh, it could be worse. Come on,
That's awful. That's terrible.
It's horrible. I love
It is. Yeah.
It's I put the false in falsetto. There we go.
Yeah.
Bad impressions are the best impressions.
I just show everybody Rodney's videos and say, "This is my autistic granddad," and and they're there for it. They're like, "He's a beautiful person." I know he's great.
They're like, he's an artist.
Yeah,
Yeah. I went to the doctor whenever I was 24 years old, and they diagnosed me with autism. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go from here.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a blanket term that they just don't like. They apply to people they don't know what to do with. Because
So he's antisocial and can draw. We're just going to call him autistic.
he can read real well, though. We don't know
Yeah.
if he uses it.
Yeah.
Well,
He doesn't want to, but he can.
he's high functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Highly
he's
functional.
great high.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's why I had to stop doing drugs.
He's not high. He's not high functioning. He's functioning high.
It's definitely a crazy place out here. That's the thing with drugs; they work. don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, and I don't know how it is, where you're at, Rodney, but like down here, opiates and like especially fentanyl and shit like that it's wreaking havoc on our generation, like terribly. And look at like Huntington, West Virginia has like one of the highest overdose rates like in the country, and it's crazy because there's nothing else there. So like you take away. I don't really know what it is. I guess they took away a lot of the industry or what it is. But there's just everybody just either wants to drink or do drugs, and it's kind of terrible. So you have to like find all these weird outlets to make sure you don't fall into that. So I hope it's not like that up there.
I think that's an epidemic nationwide.
Yeah,
everywhere I go.
Yeah,
so people feel sorry for themselves.
It's really sad. Really.
Yeah, it is.
I see it as hopeless, and it's the one escape, and it's sad because a lot of the people that are that persona non grata, they'll take advantage of that every time. Like, if a company outlaws something, we'll just make an analog of it.
Right. Like Keith and I are both recovering addicts, and at two different two different ends of the spectrum or whatever. But it's pretty bad because once you're in the system, then it's like you have to keep following all these rules to make sure you don't go back to jail, and it's like that those external pressures are like huge triggers to keep using, so it's like that's why it's not getting any better. It's I don't foresee it getting better anytime soon either.
If you're constantly putting somebody under stress and pressure who've already proven that under stress and pressure they turn to drugs, it's a no-win situation. It's just you're just going to get more of what you were trying to avoid.
Right.
Fulfilling prophecy. Now, there's a good thing that I saw that you were talking about earlier in one of your videos. It's about how like you have an emotion, you deal with it, you leave it behind. You respect the emotion. You respect.
Yeah. Well, when you experience something, you experience a negative emotion. You get breakup or somebody close to you dies.
Yeah.
You want to push that emotion away. You don't want that emotion. You're always trying to fight against it. That's why people end up falling into drugs and stuff because they're trying to get rid of that emotion. And in reality, if you just let yourself feel it and just go through the whole thing, you find yourself your body just goes, okay, we're letting this go, and then you can move on.
You'll be richer.
But we don't teach people how to do that. We don't teach people.
Not only do we not teach them that, but like toxic positivity, which I believe is a completely real thing. Like, especially now with social media, you're not allowed to talk about negative shit anymore. It seems you get outed for being no one wants to see other people being depressed, and everyone also wants other people to think their lives are great, so you have like this pressure of always like making your life seem like it's great, so you don't really ever learn how to talk about it, all the bad shit, we alienate ourselves. I've seen 7 people in the last couple weeks besides playing shows, but people I know, no one is really around. Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I took upon myself is to kind of mock this whole idea of perfection.
I love it.
Because, I'd see all these guys doing the motivational speeches, that positivity thing. They're perfect bodies, they're tan, they're in a big, huge mansion, they got fancy cars, expensive cars, and they're telling you how to be successful. You can, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Well, all that.
Well, that's the only way that they can afford that.
I feel bad for those dudes. I couldn't imagine what an oil change costs on a Lambo. I'm just like, oh man, that poor dude. He's got to keep this up, or that car is not gonna be driving on the road very long.
Oh, and just the upkeep on those things is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
and I'm like, you're trying to pursue this thing that's supposed to be perfection or whatever. And it's nonsense. It's garbage. Just having all that stuff, that just has more crap you have to worry about. I think my wife just got home. My dogs are excited about it.
Oh, man. I think that there's a point to be made about like perfection is being able to accept the imperfections in your life and make the best of them and keep moving and just be honest.
Yeah. Perfection perfection is a process. It's not a destination. So you
Yeah.
think, oh, if we have this, this, and this, I have the perfect life. And it's like, no, because as soon as you have a big house, you also have big property taxes, and then you got to protect your house. People are always trying to, once they know you're rich, they're always trying to come and get your money. I mean, there's just, they don't talk about all the problems that come with all that stuff.
Yeah, they just want everybody to see the good. I don't I kind of understand it, but it's just weird to me. Like, it's just disingenuous to a different extent. Like, and that's most of the time these influencers and stuff. That's the only way that they can afford these lifestyles is by like selling this lie to poor people that are trying to get there. Which is
that becomes the game. And so I figure I'm just going to make fun of it. I'm just going to be completely opposite of what everybody else is doing.
It's gonzo. It's like the new generation of.
Essentially, what I gather from that is that you're never going to be truly happy until you're a dictator where they can't come get your money. That's perfection.
Yeah.
Bury your money in a hole in the yard.
There you go.
No,
I keep going in and out of service. I apologize. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. So
I haven't talked to anybody in a week.
Did we lose Keith?
Yeah, it was like Rodney. I was telling
Man.
Dylan. It's weird to call you Dylan.
Well, I guess this is the Rodney King Lazy Eye show now. Okay.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Where's Rodney at? I'm not used to hearing a listener. Oh, being a listener. What?
Oh, yeah. He's wondering where you were.
What's Utah like?
Connecticut.
Oh, I'm in Connecticut. I spent half my time in Utah, and the other half in Connecticut. So I'm kind of equal.
He summers in Connecticut.
Yeah, but we're here in Connecticut now. It's just nice. I'm just chilling. I kind of said I'd set the month of July away for. I was supposed to be doing a TV thing.
Yeah,
and it ended up not happening, and I'm grateful. And instead of booking anything, I'm just staying home. I'm just enjoying being home for a while because I've been on the road constantly for about 3 years now. So.
Oh shit! Doing stand up or working or?
Yeah, stand up. Just doing comedy.
Wow.
So it's just a,
My friend.
I've actually never done stand up ever. I've never done it.
Well, you hold
try, but.
Yeah, you'd be very funny. I've watched your videos. I think you'd be great at stand up.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's like I have a set. I mean, I have a set.
Oh, we lose him again.
Maybe he wouldn't be that great at stand up. You can't even get a whole sentence.
There you go. Sorry. I have a set list going, but I don't really have anywhere to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I do, but I mean, doing music for so long is so different. And they're both, like it's kind of like I was talking about this with my mom earlier. I don't want to split my personality that many different ways, doing art, and in a music way, and doing stand up. I just feel like that's just too much for me. I feel like that'd be too much.
Already, personality.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she said, "Don't want to put all your eggs in one basket." I was like, "I only have one fucking egg." So
where did you get a basket? That sounds nice.
You have any kids?
We have 3 boys, 1 girl.
Oh, that's awesome. I have 1 boy.
I have freedom.
Yeah, all mine are grown up. My youngest is like 24.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah, Ron's he's like 16 months. He's like, he learned to walk at 8, so he's just completely fucking unhinged. I mean, he's crazy. I mean, he's like hard to keep track of. He just,
mine's 31.
It's
and he's
wild.
trying to figure out. Like,
if you got any tips,
navigate.
I'm open. I'm open to it. How do you not be scared all the time? You know what I mean? Like, like that fear of like I don't ever want him to go to school, but I also don't want to like go to jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. The big thing is teach him how to think on his own. Teach him logic.
Yeah.
Teach him, play games with him that make him think about things. Play games with math.
Okay.
Get him to challenge himself and think about things like that all the time. Give him puzzles.
Yeah.
Give him puzzles, and that's the biggest thing. Is if you teach your child how to think for themselves and how to solve problems.
Yeah.
They're way ahead of the game, because most schools are just
Indoctrination daycare.
Yeah, they just tell you to show up, shut up, and
Yeah.
do what you're told.
Teaches
Right.
you how to be an obedient
Teach your
worker.
kid to be a free thinker, to analyze things. Challenge them. Challenge them to question their own reality, to question what's going on. Get them to come up with answers themselves.
This thing likes to ride around. It's like a little car, but he likes to flip it upside down and act like he's working on it, even though I mean, he's not. But I mean, I just love the fact that he does that. He looks like a little mechanic, and it's the cutest damn thing I've ever seen. Like it's adorable.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Well, look how we turned out, man. We're fantastic.
Yeah, no, I commend you for raising children in this environment. It's it's a tough one. Like I said, the biggest trick is teach them how to learn for themselves and how to think for themselves. That's about the best gift you can give them.
If it was anything like me, that might come back and
he loves music too. So I mean, I don't push it on him or anything. He just like we were at practice the other day, and he has like these little canceling headphones I'll put on his head during rehearsal and stuff, and he just runs in there with his little ukulele and he'll just start strumming it and stuff. And he's actually it's weird. He can play tempos and stuff already. It's pretty surreal, actually. Yeah, he loves it, because I mean, his first.
That's the hardest part to really learn and understand.
Yeah, it is. It is. You either have it or you don't. I've learned. I mean, you can teach somebody chords, but you can't teach somebody rhythm. You know what I mean? That's something that's repetitive and over again. That you just either have or you don't. And so.
What's that, Keith?
So, do you think that you can teach funny, like along that same line?
I can't even hear it, Keith.
Oh, really? I was wondering because. All right, is that better?
Yeah, he's been piping in. We keep walking over the top of him.
Oh, I can't even see him on my video.
Oh, okay.
Really? I see me perfect in my gaping hole in my mouth. That
I've always just been talking over this whole time and not even realizing it.
Okay, it's okay. You got good words. I've got English.
Is that working?
Yeah, is that all right? Is that better? Can you hear me now? Better?
Can you hear him? Can you hear him now?
I can't hear him at all.
Sunshine.
Give me about 10 minutes. Let me get to where I'm going, and I'll have better service, so I can actually. Yeah, it was good talking with you guys. If I don't see you again, but I'm sure I will.
All right.
All right. See you, buddy.
See you, man.
So what were you asking, Keith?
I was wondering, he was talking about not being able to teach people rhythm and tempo, or being able to keep beat and stuff like that. Does that apply to comedy too? Because I got pretty strong feelings about it.
Well, it's like I tell people, I say you can go to a basketball camp and improve your skills as a basketball player, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the next LeBron James or Michael Jordan.
Yeah, there's athletic gifts.
Doesn't mean you're going to make the NBA. Right? But you'll play a pickup game, you're going to be better at it.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got a little bit of experience with just that. I live, we have a pretty decently sized high school, and we made it to the state basketball tournament. And it was a different competition there. I got to see what people do incorrectly, what I'd been trying to do for years. And so I was like, okay, well, I quit now, because this is a mountain I'm never going to be able to attain just genetically.
Yeah. You realize no matter how much I practice, there's no way I can.
Yeah, I'm still only 6'8".
This guy's 6'8" and runs is quicker and more nimble than I am. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know how to play basketball all growing up, and my cousin, him and his friends always used to play next door, and so I would go and annoy the crap out of them. So I tried to play basketball with him, and basketball to me was just, I'm going to jump and jump and jump and jump and just keep jumping. That's all I did until I had I guess these sideshow bob feet, and all that jumping. I could get pretty high in there, but I guess I just wasn't high enough already to the goal to make it matter. So but everybody says that trauma makes people funnier, and there's definitely an argument for that. It's a coping mechanism for sure. It's one thing that I've leaned on heavily, and I use it for other people too, because I actually know the value of a laugh, because I know how much it's meant to me before, and whenever I've needed it, and
Well, as I like to say, tragedy is when bad things happen to me. Comedy is when bad things happen to someone else.
I say the things that bother me, I have to view them through the scope of ironic detachment.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can make them less of them, like until it doesn't bother me. I can cartoonize it or trivialize it, and then it no longer really has that much of a hold on me.
Yeah, that's how you. That's the power of humor and comedy is being able to take and make molehills out of mountains. You know, it's being able to take something that's very, very dense and very heavy and make light of it. So you can, so you don't have to carry that weight around with you. You know, you mock it and ridicule it, makes it easier so that it doesn't have a power control over you.
Yeah. What I've noticed a lot lately is a lot of people, I guess you call it catastrophizing, like even the smallest things. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so ridiculous.
Like it hurts them. I can see that it hurts them, but like they're the one that's like got the like hold on the leash of what's hurting them. Like they're making like that molehill into the mountain that you were talking about. And
Yeah.
Gluttons for self punishment, maybe, or just.
Well, we've become a victimized society where the person with the most pain and the most
Popular.
yeah, I mean, it's we have this whole victim palooza mentality. It's like who's the biggest victim? Who's had the hardest? Who's been through the worst? You know,
people trying to out trauma each other. How about you go write a joke?
Yeah, it used to be that who was the best to do, who could do the most push-ups, who was tallest. That was now it's who got molested by their uncle. And it's really rather odd.
It's like incentivized like tragedy.
Yeah, and then and because we've given so much, we make you a hero if you embrace your struggles and you share them with people. Well, then people take and make their issues even bigger.
Yeah,
even more, they embellish it even more. So now, what was, a little slight, like somebody at school called you a jerk because you were sitting on their coat or something, and now all of a sudden you turned it into this. Oh, they hate me, and they've got the whole school against me, and they speak, and it was like. I mean, we just take the littlest things and turning them into these huge, taking molehills and turning them into mountains.
What I see is I think that people see the attention that the people that are actually speaking about their problems in a positive way and all the attention that they gather from that. And they're like, well, I deserve some attention.
Yeah, I've been through worse than you. What are you up there talking about that for? You want to see trouble, let me tell you.
Like, yeah, you moved past your problems. They couldn't have been worse than mine.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it easy because you haven't been through what I've been through. Let me tell you. I mean, I see this all the time because I'll post a video, and I avoid the toxic positivity mentality.
It's like culty.
Yeah, and I talk about being positive, but I also talk. My goal is that life isn't perfect. Life is messy. You aren't going to have good days all the time. You aren't. But at the same time, you aren't going to have bad days all the time either. Yeah, everything isn't horrible. Everything isn't miserable. And everything isn't perfect either. But just knowing that life is what life is and appreciate for what it is, move on. That's it.
That's such a rare quality to have now, to be able to look at things through that kind of a scope. I think because it's taught like on, well, I don't know if any kids watch TV, but a lot of kids I know that were raised by iPads, that's how they act. And I call it like the whole generation that was raised by YouTube, the look at me generation. One, it's sad, but my iPad was a creek in my backyard, and I turned out. It's just.
Well, yeah, that's what I was raised. I was hardly in the house ever, especially during the summer. I mean, your bedroom was just that you came home to sleep, eat, and then
that's exactly what it was.
And you were gone. I mean, it was just we were just outside all the time.
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, did my parents just not want me around?
Well, we just didn't want to be in the house. There wasn't anything in there, you know. I mean, we didn't have video games when I was growing up. Well, eventually I remember we got one of the first Ataris that had Pong. So my dad was a truck driver. He's a mechanic, diesel mechanic, and a truck driver. And he went on a thing one time and he bought one of the first Atari game consoles.
Oh, that was.
And I remember like every kid in the neighborhood would come over and they would just we would play Pong and these different Atari games, and we would have kids there all the time playing this Pong, you know. And it was just, I don't know if you've ever seen Pong, but it's literally just, you know,
I remember Pong is one cool
thing back and forth, and you're up here, and then it bounces here, and you're like, you know,
isn't that kind of stuff? Like how something like that simple can captivate the imaginations of so many people for such a long amount of time.
Well, and you know, when I was kids, like I said, we didn't have anything like that. So when it finally showed up, it was pretty fascinating. But at the same time, we still wanted to go outside.
There's the outside because
we still wanted to go out and play.
I remember like my friends and I used to throw rocks up in the air and just dodge them.
Oh, I've done that before too.
I mean, let's see who can dodge the rocks. Oh, it's raining rocks. Brilliant kids we were. I mean, but we're definitely tougher for it.
But yeah, it was fun, and you know, it's funny because I've been seeing a lot of younger people I've noticed raising their kids now. They're getting them to go outside. I'm seeing kids outside more now. I think people, because you know, I think millennials, you guys were raised with computers all the time. Well, not all of you, but a lot.
Yeah,
just door all the time. That now they've got their own kids. They're like, I don't want them to have the childhood I had because I didn't do anything. I watched YouTube videos and played video games.
The pessimist in me wants to really come out and say that maybe they don't even want to be around their kids, so they just send them outside.
You know, it could be. But I mean, that was, you know, my generation. We were raised by the boomers, and they were, you know, traditionally they were so focused on themselves that when they had kids, it was just like, you know, the kids
family oriented, the nuclear family, you know, eat dinner together, all that, like be involved in each other's lives somewhat, at least, like instead of just having these strangers that live in your house that you had, like that are your children, basically.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of friends that's the kind of relationship they have with their parents. They hardly ever saw them.
My house was like the haven for all the other neighborhood kids.
That's how my family was. That's what we were. We were the place that everybody else came to.
Different people have different names for it. I've heard it called the Lion's Den here. And
Yeah. Oh, you still there?
2, son 3, you know, stuff like that. Like I remember my dad actually bought one of my friends a motorcycle, like a small dirt bike, because he would just stare at me while I was on mine. He was so like he wanted to ride it so bad, and his mom would never get him one. Like she was just real prude of a lady. Like,
yeah,
but. She did get him one, but she got it at a weekend outlet, and it was a Jin Chang 125. And it sounded exactly like the name. It goes Jin Chang 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 Chang. He brought that down to the house. My dad just went, "Son of a bitch."
Go get your real one, son.
Mm-hmm. That was fun. It was. I really, like you said, I never was inside. I was like, contrary to my almost translucent skin now, like I used to like be able to keep a tan pretty well. I've got like a lot of Native American in me, like a lot more than Elizabeth Warren. But I still ain't been brave enough to claim it on any kind of college like entrance.
Yeah, that's kind of on that. We had well, when I was in junior high school, I had a friend who was he was a Ute in a Navajo Indian. And he was a good friend of mine, and I was hanging out with. I'd go to his house all the time. We'd hang out, and I got talking to his mother one time, and I had mentioned that somewhere in my family history we had I had a grandmother who was an Indian, a Native American. This was like 3 or 4 generations, back. I didn't know who she was. I just knew I'd heard stories from my grandmother that.
You weren't claiming that you guys were like this.
Yeah, no, but that I had a great grandmother who was an Apache.
My mother's name is Unoka.
Unoka, huh?
Yeah. It means wind splitter. And I was like, they named you after a fart?
That's. But it was funny because I was telling her, Mrs. Wyaskett, I told her about that. And so she met with my grandmother. She knew my grandmother. We lived close. And so she got all the genealogy. And next thing I know, I got put into the Indian placement program. And what it was really cool, was that every Friday they would go and do culturally significant things. So we would go to like powwows. We would go to museums.
Missions were.
Yeah, and it was all stuff that was geared towards Native American studies.
Yeah,
and so I had for 1 year in junior high school. I got out of school every Friday to go on these excursions with my friend, and it was really awesome. I learned all about all the different tribes in the area. The Utes, the Navajos, the Paiutes.
That's cool. Like, I kind of did that with co-op in high. Well, my friend was in co-op, and I used to ride out of school in his trunk. So kind of thing.
There you go.
To each their own. I guess we can like find similarities and even the most different of stories. I'm great at that. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't like to be disingenuous, but I'm a great bullshitter. Like I can just talk. Like I don't even know where half of the sentences I start are going, but they always end up in some delightful place. It seems like, I don't know, maybe it's the accent.
There's moments where when you have a conversation, it's like you're as surprised as the other person what you said.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember that, but it sounds like it was fun.
I don't know where I was going with that either.
Well, how long have I been talking? Did I have a stroke? Do you smell burnt toast? Like,
is there a reason I'm driving this conversation? Because I have no idea where we're going with it.
Holy crap, my back is hurting. This conversation is heavy to carry. Isn't that the worst thing though? Like whenever, like, have you ever been in a situation where you're forced to be around somebody, like, and just like people outside interests are wanting you to get along with somebody, so they just kind of like put you in a room together and like, hey, get along, know each other.
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps. I had to spend a lot of time with people.
I'll do it. That's it.
You just have to say, you know what? For what it's worth, this person's my favorite person in the whole world, and I'm going to get along with them because I might be going to war tomorrow, and I don't want them to shoot me.
Hoorah! Oh no.
Yep.
I've
always had kind of a easygoing enough attitude that I can usually get along with just about anybody.
I'm a super conscientious objector. Like, I don't know. I got a operant defiant disorder. Authority, I don't understand it. Like, fundamentally, like I never understood, like, because I said so to be a valid answer for anything. And like you were talking about with Dylan there about making sure that his kid learns how to, think independently and stuff. I was like, that could turn into be a nightmare if they're anything like me, because I could poke holes in logic that could be skewed easily. So I don't know. I guess I was kind of like a little escape artist for trouble, because there's this weird little unsaid rule in my home where if you could make my parents laugh, then everything got a little bit better. So,
well, that's one thing I learned early is if you can get them to laugh and like you, it's hard for them to punish you.
You never want to spank somebody that's making you laugh, because you have to be like, this is hurting me worse than it's hurting you. What do they say? What is it from laughter? It makes you weak. Like, you're laughing, it really does. It takes the strength.
It does. It absolutely does.
For Jordan Peterson.
Because when you laugh, you relax. It's ingrained in us that if you're getting ready, you're out hunting. Back in the days, would go hunting. You start getting chased down by a saber-toothed tiger. And so you're running back to the cave, and you and Bob make it back to the cave, and you go, all right, Bob, we made it. Woohoo, yeah, we're laughing. Woohoo. You're going, hey, what happened to Stan? It's like,
Stan
didn't make it. What do you know?
The selfish person in me was like, I'd be trying to make Bob laugh on the way to the cave.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, oh, self-preservation strong in this one.
Yes.
Is that I may talk like, you know, a doomsday, like a end of days type mentality person, you know, pessimist, but on the inside, I don't know if I don't think I am. I couldn't really give a strong answer there.
Well, I think the whole optimism, pessimism thing is kind of a silly notion.
It is, because everything's situational, right?
Yeah. I think most of us are just, I like to think of myself as just basically a positive realist, and that I understand what the nature of reality is that it's not always good, it's not always bad.
The only thing that I really understand about the nature of reality is that it is. And
yeah, and it's just like, well, it's not either, things aren't really either good or bad. So you just take them for what it is, what it's worth, and move on. You know,
a lot of people don't have that ability to move on. A lot of people love to
we love to hold on. Well, it's part of that's that victim mentality. As long as we have something negative, we can go, look how horrible my life is.
Yeah, look at me, pity points.
Pity me.
And
I like to tell people, you know, when you have something bad happens, have your little pity party, cry it out, and then move on.
Yeah, like we can agree that it was terrible, but was is a past tense.
Yeah, you don't need to just let you destroy every other day for the rest of your life because of it.
I mean, and other people around you that care about you too, because you know, misery does love company. I know I've known some miserable people. Like not anything like you, but I've found a little bit of moderate success in comedy, and I've watched my friend group just dwindle down like to basically nothing, because I guess people were using me as a metric to kind of judge themselves by.
Yeah, they'll do that. I mean, that's sort of the nature of comics, especially ones that we feel like we're equal to, and when they start to have success, we feel, you know, it's like, hey, why are they getting success? I'm just I'm funnier than they are. Why are they getting success? And then
they're funny in their living room, though.
Yeah, you know, yeah, but. So I don't know, we just have this weird, silly competition with each other. Like, if you're successful, then you're taking away from my success. And it's like the dumbest thing ever. We can all be successful. There's plenty out there.
Yeah, it's a group. Like, humanity isn't a singular term. I mean, it's like we're a group. We should be able to share in each other's wins and, you know, be able to help each other through the losses.
Yeah. You should look at it when somebody that you know personally becomes successful doing what you're doing. You should be one, excited that, yay, they're successful. That's awesome for them. But also sit there and go, hey, I know that guy. I know what he did. I know I'm just as funny, maybe even funnier. So now I know I do have it. I can be that. I can have that. I can be that successful.
Yeah.
I know I'm capable of it.
You should be a student of life. I mean, just learn from other people. And if you see someone's being successful in some kind of endeavor that you're interested in, learn from them. Just surround yourself with successful people. And I promise, and you know this, I mean, good things happen whenever you surround yourself with better people. You raise your station, and like, you're all the better for it. Whereas the exact opposite happens if you hang around with garbage, which I know all about garbage. You know what I mean?
Yep. You rise to the level of those around you.
Yeah. People don't really understand what, like, I'm trying to do with comedy, or like what it really is. I guess, like, they like the what is it, the blue collar comedy tour. They're still living that, but you know, I don't really want to do like all redneck jokes and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, it's to really take it to the upper levels. I mean, to really go to be truly successful, you have to either be the absolute best at what everybody else is doing, or you have to be exceptional at what nobody else is doing.
It's like Richard Pryor said. I think it was Richard Pryor. He said, "You'll know that you're successful whenever everything before you is inconsequential and everything behind you bears your mark."
Yes.
And that's I love that because I watched him do it.
Yeah, he did. He redefined the whole genre. I mean, he redefined comedy. He made you forget literally everyone before him and compare everyone after him to him.
Yeah, nobody prior to or after.
Yeah. And that's what you've got to do. You got to build. It's like I tell people when you do stand-up comedy, you have to be able to be the person that can follow anyone.
Yeah, follow anybody or go before. I mean, just to be.
It doesn't matter. You put me on the show, I'm taking it over.
I actually got fortunate enough to be able to talk to Dane Cook several times on the Clubhouse app, and build a little bit of a rapport with him. And he said, "Be the funniest person in the room every time," and that's it. It doesn't matter what order you go in, people will remember that.
Yep. Oh, I've done things where I've done a guest spot. I did, a short 5-minute spot on a show that went 2 hours, and I was the only one that anybody remembered.
Yeah, exactly. See, I mean, that's skill. I mean, it's an art.
Because the trick is to go for an impact.
Yeah.
And not there just because you can get up and entertain people for 45 minutes to an hour. That's fine. You just be interesting enough and people will hang around.
Cause thought.
But to really get up there and just when you get up there and they can't stop thinking about you for days.
Yeah, they're thinking on the drive home.
Yeah. When they get home, they just have to tell people about you.
Well, that's one of the main reasons that I got into it too, is because I see that it's a vehicle to lessen people's hatred as well, like hatred that they hold that they don't even know why they have it, and like beliefs that they have that are incorrect, that they've been taught this their whole life and stuff. Because I think the only way that you can really change their mind is to make them consider, well, maybe what I believe is a little bit silly in the first place. But
yeah. Hold on. Let me. He's letting me know he doesn't want to pee on my floor. So hold on.
All right, this is Keith Bird's only child situation kicking in. Yeah. Oh man, this is crazy. I just got on here and just started talking to him, and we picked up like old chums. I now want a beard. I'm wildly jealous, and also of that 76 sign in the background. That is cool as heck.
That's it. Yeah, my grandfather. There it is. When I was a child, my grandfather had a Union 76 gas station in Springville, Utah. And I remember I used to make money washing people's windows when they came in. I had a little step stool thing that I would get up because, I was like 5. So I'd get up there and I'd wash their windows. And, they'd give me a nickel.
You felt important too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, man. Getting up there, washing the window.
Oh man, my grandfather, he used to lay a guardrail. Like he always used to brag that he's crawled on his hands and knees from Missouri to Kentucky, and then I don't know what happened, but he ended up really working his ass off until he got financially stable enough to be able to purchase some land, and he owned coal mines after that. Like that's a humble beginnings. Like,
oh wow, yeah.
And he was like the patriarch of our family. Like he's the only reason we were able to live comfortably for a while. And then he got Alzheimer's, and that was just, man, that's not to go down with everything, but that's one of the cruelest things that I've ever seen. Like a disease.
Oh, it's tough to watch. I have a very close friend of ours. She's currently in a home, in a facility, But she was her and her family were living with us for a while. And we had to have double locks on the doors because she would just get out and wander. And
then if anything shook her view of reality, as skewed as it was, then they would throw them into it.
Yeah, it was really tough to deal with. But I remember as she was starting to go into it, I was driving her to an airport to go pick up her granddaughter, who was like 18, 19 years old. And as we're driving there, she still thought that this girl was 5 years old. And she kept mentioning, oh, well, they want me to babysit her. And it's like, no, actually, we were meeting the granddaughter because she was flying with her grandmother to go back to Utah. And she was there to escort your grandma to make sure grandma got there okay. But grandma thought she was there to escort the little girl. And it was interesting because as we're driving there, she's kind of incoherent. She's babbling. And then all of a sudden she just stops. And we have this, she's very coherent because, there's a time where they just kind of going in and out.
Yeah. And they have those little lapses and then they come back and they've got coherency for a bit.
Yeah. And they have that moment. And she just said, Rodney, I'm losing my mind.
That's hard.
And I'm like, I know. And she goes, I'm scared. And I says, well, I'm scared for you. We're all here for you. We all love you and we're all trying to help. And she goes, I know, but I just feel like I'm just drifting away and I don't know how to stop it. I go, I don't know how to stop it either, but just know that you're loved. And she goes, I know. And then she just went right back into talking about her 5-year-old granddaughter.
At least that's one little bit of respite that they can get, maybe.
Yeah, well, it was the last time that I had a real conversation with her. As things went on, for whatever reason, she knew who I was. She was comfortable with me.
Did you have a beard at the time? Because you do have a pretty recognizable visage there.
I did, and when she was really just before we put her in an institution, I would have to constantly have to sit her and calm her down because she's like, these people are keeping me here. They won't let me go. And she's talking about her own children, her daughter and her son-in-law and her grandkids and her husband. She didn't even she had a hard time recognizing her husband.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, she trusted me. And so I would have to constantly calm her down. It was an odd
role too.
Huh?
That's a tough role.
Yeah, it was. And then, but when it got to the point where she was just, she was combative and she would just go into fits of crying. Yeah, it's a horrible thing to watch someone to go through.
It's weird. It's like they're being held prisoner in one body, and then you're also there as a witness. Like, I actually, the first time I did a stand-up set, like, I got the call, like, that my grandfather had passed away like 10 minutes before it.
Oh, wow.
And, I was like, well, how do I deal with this? Like, do I let this like stop me because I'm really interested in it? This is what I feel like I'm here to do. I'm good at it. What would he want me to do? So I went out and the first thing I did was tell an Alzheimer's joke. That's it. One of the last times I saw my grandfather while he was coherent, I had my mother with me, and my father's been passed away for a while, and so he just thought, he said, "Hey son, hey, is that your wife?" And I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Yeah, that's like you did good, buddy. You did good." So I guess that was the start of my stand-up career, is just making jokes about like the shit that bothers me.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Make jokes about what you know. People are asking, what do you talk about? And I go, just life.
Yeah, it's different for everybody, but it's all the same too. It's weird how it can be so like just what would you call that? Ever change? I wouldn't call it ever changing. Just everybody experiences everything different. It's
Yeah, but we all have a lot of the same. We all go through the same emotions. There might be different things that trigger those emotions, but we all go through the self doubt. We all go through anger. We all go through. We all have anxieties. We all have all these pressures. We
Actually,
all have the same emotions, but we just have different experiences with those emotions.
different levels of.
Yeah, and my thing. Yeah, you've heard people say, "Oh, you got to learn to identify with the audience. You got to connect with the audience." I'm like, no. You're never going to do that. You're never going to relate to every single person in that room. That's not.
Everything in them.
But what you do is you become the common denominator in the room. It's
You're the
you bring them into your world.
Mhm.
You show them around your experience. You bring them into you. That's your job as a comedian.
That's the art.
Yeah, that's the art. Is you're building something, and you're taking the people on a tour.
So you're a conductor.
Yeah,
It's and your jokes are the music, and it's you can tell the same joke. Two different people can tell the same joke, and they go completely different ways. And it's just all about. But if something I found that if something works in front of 30 people, it'll work in front of 300.
oh yeah.
And people say, "Oh, that was a bad audience. That was a bad audience." They can be, but I feel like a lot of that is on the performer as well. Like I don't like to just.
I took on upon myself early on was to never blame the audience, because I figure once you blame the audience, what you're saying is, I was fine.
Yeah,
It was their problem.
yeah.
But
No blame on me.
that stops you from progressing and learning. If you every time you have a bad set, you step back and go, okay, what could I have done better? How could have I gotten through to them? Then you'll improve. Then you'll make advancements and you'll get better. But if you're always blaming the audience, well, then you got nothing to learn. You're going to be stuck right where you're at.
Yeah, you'll remain there forever because growth isn't supposed to be comfortable, and bombing definitely isn't comfortable.
No, it's not, but it's the greatest lesson. If you kill every time, you're never going to change anything. You're never going to, if you never have a bad set, for one, you probably just got a whole lot of hack material or stuff that that you're always confident, it's always going to work. But
how about these airplanes?
Challenge, huh?
Like, how about these airplanes?
How about this airplane food?
Oh God, it's awful.
If you really wanted to build a crowd pleaser act, it's really easy to do. Just sit down and hit all the hot button topics, get all the same old jokes. People will still laugh at the stuff that was funny before.
The audience is a true genius. I mean, they'll tell you every time what works and what doesn't. And if you listen, then you've got it. I mean, you just have to listen. You have to stick in there long enough to figure out what doesn't work, and just take notes. And they'll build your act for you if you let them.
Yep, just learn to listen and just take chances. Doesn't always work.
A keen observer.
You've probably experienced it where you write a joke and you share it 3 or 4 times. It doesn't work, so you forget it. And then down the road, just on a whim, you throw it out there again, and all of a sudden it just kills.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, I'm still trying to figure out what the difference is. What I don't know what I'm doing different. If it's my approach to it, my attitude, my delivery, my tone, my cadence.
It's everything. It's everything.
It'll make you really anal retentive about everything. It's just like, hey, you want to take everything apart.
Yes, as you should be. You should be. It's an art form that you need to suffer for it. you need to go through that. You need that pain and that anguish.
Yeah, to laugh, you should have had to suffer some first, because otherwise it's empty laughs. Because
if it all comes easy, then anybody.
I was an ugly kid, and I wanted to hold girls' hands. So guess what old Keith did? He got funny.
Oh, I was a fat kid, so I was the same way. I was a middle child, and I was fat. I had to be funny. That was all I had going for me.
It was a survival technique.
Yes.
Mine was more of a procreation down the line, like way on. Yeah, I was real obsessed with holding hands. Now, buddy, I held the heck out of some hands, but it was funny though. It's just because I tell everybody like this is I look like Harry Potter if you were Hitler Youth. It had this like platinum blonde hair and these perfect round rim glasses and stuff. It would have been child abuse now.
Oh, I remember, it was about third grade. I remember there was this girl I had a crush on. Her name was Michelle. And I told her that I thought she was very pretty. And she said, she looked at me and said, "You look like your face is melting."
Well,
I have one ear's bigger than the other. My nose is kind of off to the side. I just, and then my eyes are a little cattywampus.
you should have been like, well, that's fine. I just got it this morning. I'll get a different one tomorrow.
Yeah. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
And that's the last time I ever spoke to her. I was just like,
oh man, I've
"Your
had.
face is melting." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
You look like your face is melting, man. Oh, we're in backcountry now. Oh man, I would have loved to have just seen some transcripts of conversations between Hunter S. Thompson and Johnny Depp. That's got to be some gold.
That would have been interesting.
I want you to shoot my ashes out of a cannon, Johnny. Do it.
That dude was nuts.
And I think it speaks a lot to the state of society now that he almost was elected mayor of up there in Colorado, the nice ski town.
Is Aspen? Was it Aspen?
Yeah. I just, I would have lost a lot more faith in humanity if they had just, elected him any kind of power over anything.
Oh yeah, that would have been a disaster. I mean, there are people who are interesting and they're fun to listen to, but yeah, you don't want them running anything.
Yeah, Hemingway, great writer. Don't want him running your house. I mean,
no. A lot of bad personal choices.
Yeah,
Great writer. He was a great writer, but no, you don't want to leave this guy in charge of anything.
What is it about genius that leaves so many deficits in other areas? That's one thing that I've noticed is a common trait that I see.
Well, I think it's just that they see the world so differently that everything that we think is important to them isn't important at all.
Yeah, well, that's
and then they have a hard time really grasping what really is important to them because they can't relate to anybody. It's hard for them to have real good personal relationships because they don't respect anybody because nobody's smart as they are.
Yeah, or they don't give anybody the chance to show them because such a great sense of some kind of sense of grandeur that everything is beneath them. Like Nikola Tesla wouldn't even have relationships with people because he said it was relatable to bestiality.
Yeah, he was in a different.
Absolutely, one strength, but everything else lacks. Everything else is poorly constructed, right? I mean, loose foundation at best.
Yeah.
He did get along real well with a pigeon, though, I heard. That's really... Yeah, pigeons are nothing but winged rats. Oh. How did we get on to... Oh. I don't know. They told me I was gifted in school, and then they tried to send me to some, Pierre's school, for the gifted. But Dad didn't want to drive me there the whole time. And then I started getting a little rowdy, and they spent the rest of my entire school career trying to send me to alternative school. So...
Want to see you juvenile detention?
Yeah, they could never catch me doing anything. They hated me, but they loved me. I was like a lovable little scamp, And
it's like we know you're doing something wrong, but we're not smart enough to figure out what it is yet. But we know you're up to something.
I'm not smart enough to figure out why you can't figure out why you can't figure out. I'm confused. Aren't you the adults?
You're in charge?
Yeah, you're reinforcing this behavior right now. You realize? That goes back to getting out of trouble for making my parents laugh. I found out that it had a wide applicable,
Yes.
applicity.
Well, I think that was my thing when I was make other kids laugh was for so long I was focused on making my parents laugh and making my aunts and uncles and making my grandparents laugh. I mean, so I was always my younger self was always trying to make adults laugh. That was my goal. And then going to school, and I would do jokes and they didn't get them because they didn't understand what I was talking about because they were kids. They didn't get the references. They didn't know who Dean Martin was. So because but to me, I was raised in that. I was just always fascinated with things that were older than I was.
When you said Dean Martin, I got a whiff of whiskey and cigarette in my nose.
There you go. And so it was funny just trying to relate to making kids laugh.
Kids.
That was fun.
They're the one group of people that make me feel stupid and can make me feel stupid consistently because there's a disconnect between myself and them. And I just can't get it because I'll be like, and they're like,
well, you know what's really funny about kids? What they think is funniest is when you treat them like they're adults.
Yeah, I've tried that.
If you treat them with you treat them like, hey, we're here to have a good time, kids. They hate it. They don't want to be treated that way. But if you treat them like adults and act that way it's really funny because that's the funniest way. That's how you communicate with children is you talk to them like they're adults.
That's funny because
it will blow your mind at how funny these kids can be.
They're honest is what's funny. Just their blatant honesty, and they don't have they don't have any
no filters.
Tact either. Yeah, I've heard I don't have very good tact. Like I'll walk in somebody's house and be like, that cat piss, I love cats.
Yeah.
But
when you bring that to them, if you're totally honest with them at the same time, it blows their mind and they're fun.
It's weird. They want to be adults. We want to be more like kids. And the only people that are happy with their age are 21-year-olds.
Pretty much.
Everybody under 21 wants to be a little older. Everybody above 21 wants to be a little younger. That's the crux right there.
Yeah. Or when you think about your perfect self, you usually think about that 21-year-old. That's usually what we do.
Yeah, I don't like to dwell on like what could have been very often because it's infuriating to me. One, the potential I've squandered, but like I had fun doing it. So I mean, there's no that. I guess. I mean, I got stories and shit, but can I tell all of them in open forum? No, but
but you should, man. That's get out there to live. Get out there and just enjoy yourself.
I want other people to enjoy me enjoying myself. Like I just don't want to ever be like a hindrance on other people or like the bad taste in their mouth after they leave somewhere. Like that's just it. It's just I don't want to be like a bad afterthought. Like
yeah.
It's just I don't know. There's a joy that I get from making people laugh, and it's just you can't. There's nothing else that'll take its place. Like,
no, there's not. There's nothing. I mean, I remember the first time I did stand up, I did open mic.
It's power.
I got up there and I did a joke and I got a couple chuckles and it was like, this is it, man. Mm-hmm. Then I got a couple decent good laughs and I'm this is it. This is the meaning and purpose of my life right here. This is it. Here we go.
What about the first time you absolutely killed and like you could feel the ground shaking and like I can't.
Nothing like it. Nothing. I did a competition in Rhode Island years ago, and because I won, I got to be part of the main show for the festival. And it was in this old theater, so there's 5,000 people there.